Welcome back to No Offense. I'm your host, Makeda Royal, and today I have joining me James Bradberry, the fourth cornerback for the Philadelphia Eagles, Pro Bowler, second team All-Pro, philanthropist, and he wears many other hats. Thank you for coming to talk to me today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for
A
having
lot
me.
winning this, so thank you for keeping your word. You said you would do it, so I really appreciate it. So first, I just kind of want to ask you, so you were a two-star recruit. You went to Arkansas State, then you went to Sanford. So talk to me about that journey and that process.
So I didn't get those 2 stars until I actually committed to Arkansas State.
Oh, okay.
So you can really say I was a Z. I didn't have any stars. But I got recruited by Arkansas State. Actually, during my senior year, they just showed up during basketball season. They showed up at one of the practices.
You play basketball?
I played basketball for Pleasant Grove High School. For Pleasant Grove.
Mm-hmm.
Played basketball and football. Those are the only 2 sports I played in high school. I played basketball 9th grade through 12th. Played football 10th through 12th.
Were you good at basketball though?
I was all right. I wasn't really good. I played with some pretty good players at Pleasant Grove, like Ricky Tarrant, Orlando Coleman, a guy named Eugene Johnson. Those guys went on to play collegiately. Collegiate, that's the word, right?
Yeah.
Oh, a bit. They went on to play in college, but I chose football because I wasn't as good as them, and I realized that like my 10th grade year. So that's when I started focusing on football. But I started getting recruited my senior year because I didn't really do a whole lot my junior year, and I didn't really play a whole lot my sophomore year. I was actually playing quarterback and receiver when I first started, and then my junior year I played safety. Then they switched me over halfway through my junior year to corner, and then my senior year I started making some more plays, and that's when I started getting recruited and started getting letters and whatnot. So I wouldn't say I was highly recruited. I was really getting recruited by a lot of smaller schools, Sanford. Of course, UAB was recruiting me at the time, but they weren't what they are now. Chattanooga, HBU, Tennessee State, Grambling, those schools were heavy on me. And Arkansas State came late in the game. They came after football season was over with my senior year. They showed up to a basketball practice, and then they offered me then. I really wanted to go to a D1 single A school. That's why I chose Arkansas State, because they actually wanted me to play safety, but I wanted to play corner. But I was like, if I go there, I can always transfer down. And that's how I ended up going from Arkansas State to Sanford after my freshman year.
So how was your experience playing at Sanford?
It was cool. At the time, all I had to compare it to was like playing high school ball.
Right.
We didn't really have a whole lot of fans at our games, honestly. But it was cool though, because I feel like the football team, we were a close group, and because we didn't really have like a big fan base there, it made us like tighter as a whole. So it was cool.
So speaking of Sanford, do you watch March Madness at all?
I don't, but I did catch them last year. I missed the game. I don't really watch a whole lot of sports in general.
Really? I heard a lot of people say that. But I guess you do it for a living, so.
Yeah, I kind of get turned off by the commentators and listening to people talk about it.
So, I do want to ask you. So you said, I've heard you say in other interviews, like you didn't know if you would go pro or not. So when did you know, or when did that kind of become a reality for you?
My sophomore year at Sanford, my DB coach, Sam Shade, he actually played in the league for about 8 years. He told me then that I had the potential to play. But I didn't really believe it, honestly, because, you play football, you go out there, handle business for your season, and then after the season, they give out accolades like All-American, All-Conference, so on and so on. But I wasn't really getting a whole lot of, feedback from, or a lot of accolades after the season. So I couldn't really see it at the time. So that's why I didn't really believe it until maybe like my senior year, when like the Senior Bowl scouts were coming out there and then NFL scouts were coming out there to look at me and whatnot. That's when I really knew I had an opportunity to play.
So I wanted to ask you, so played for the Panthers, you won a starting job your rookie season, and now you've been in the league, what, 8 years?
Yeah, I just finished up my 8th year.
Yeah, so what's been your secret to longevity?
I would say rule number 1 is being available. I had a special team coach when I was at Carolina, Thomas McGahee. He's a special team coach there. Well, he was there, but now I forgot where he is now. But he was also my special team coach in New York. But the first thing he always tells us in the beginning of the year during training camp is availability is the best ability. And they also have that written, I think, in the New York Giants training room facility. You can't make the team in the cold tubs because if you're not available, then you're no use to the team. So I would say rule number one is being available.
So I just want to kind of talk about the business side. So I see like a lot of players, they restructure their deals. So how does that work? Is it like the team saying, hey, we need you to come in and do this? Or like, do you go to management and ask for that?
I would say most of the time the team come to you and they want to restructure. Yeah, it's pretty much the team most of the time.
So you got a chance to play in the Super Bowl. How was that experience?
It was cool. I feel like it was a little overrated.
Okay.
But I was also playing in it, so my time was took up because during the week you got media day, and you also you have obligations that you have to do for the NFL and for the Super Bowl and the festivities. So really, I feel like my family enjoyed the Super Bowl more so than I did. Of course, I got to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't really get to enjoy it after the game because we lost.
Right.
But I mean, I was like, I'm here, so I might as well enjoy it. So I got to enjoy it for those whatever hours after the game. But it was kind of overrated for me, honestly.
So I know for the Super Bowl, you got a holding call.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you feeling after that play, and how are you able to just kind of move on from that?
I'm cool. You know, I think about it sometimes, but most of the time I don't think about it until somebody bring it up.
Oh, my bad. I'm just saying. Why not? I'm just saying
you good.
But
I feel like right after that happened, you know, it was easy for me not to think about it because that's kind of like my mindset as a football player, and I feel like every athlete should have that mindset. You kind of got to let it go and move on to the next play. Of course, it was a big play, and it was really my last play of that year.
Yeah.
But I had a good year, and I was second team All-Pro. I just try to think about the positive stuff that I did that year. I would say I think about it more now versus when it first happened, because of course it's a big game, and I feel like it kind of settled in now. And I think about it more. I might not ever make it back to the Super Bowl. Hopefully, we make it back next year. But you know that comes once in a lifetime, if it ever comes in a lifetime. So I'm dealing with it.
But I mean, you know, they say like it's never one play that loses a game. So.
Oh, for sure.
So you played against a lot of receivers. Who would you say have been some of the toughest to play against?
I would say number one is Julio Jones. You know, he kind of checks all the boxes of being a elite receiver. You know, size, quickness, speed, hands, IQ, and really, I feel like every team has one or two receivers that are really, really good. And of course, if you make it to the NFL, I feel like you're good enough anyways. And I definitely got to bring my A game no matter what. But Julio, Tyreek Hill's really fast. Devontae Smith is really good. He's really quick. A.J. Brown, strong guy, great hands. He's big, physical. I mean, I'd say Julio's like all around, just the most dominant receiver. I feel like he's like one of the greatest of all time.
So, of course, football has evolved over the years. Like, you've seen a lot of changes, especially like at the running back positions and like how teams kind of value and treat them. So how do you see the game of football evolving over the next few years?
Over the next few years, I would say on the defensive side, you'll start seeing more dime packages because they're putting so many athletic guys on the field. Like if you're a running back, you got to be able to catch the ball out in space or run routes. And most teams have two elite receivers that they paying. Like back in the day, it was usually like one elite receiver that they paid a lot of money to. But now you're paying two receivers. So you got to have more DBs on the field. You got tight ends that move like receivers. So you got to have more DBs on the field. I would say that from the defensive side of the ball. Offensive side of the ball, I mean, I feel like they're constantly changing. Sometimes you'll see old stuff come back in from back in the day. I don't ever see us going back to being like a downhill running type of league because guys are so quick and most of these guys have a track background, so I don't ever see us going back downhill. So I don't really know from the offensive side of the ball.
So how do you stay motivated during the season? Because that's a long time. Y'all play football with 16 weeks plus practice.
Yeah. I would say, man, I think about it in months. I'm out there for like 7-8 months. I would say I stay motivated just by staying on my schedule and showing up. You know, that's my job at the end of the day, and also I enjoy doing it. And I enjoy going out there and playing well on Sunday. So in order for me to do that, I got to do what I need to do in between Monday and Saturday.
So college football, there's been a lot of changes, especially with like the transfer portal and NIL. What are your thoughts about the transfer portal?
My thoughts on the transfer portal is, of course, I don't really deal with it or hear about it too often. But I actually have a friend that I went to school, played football with at Sanford. He's part of the athletic department down in the FAU, and he was telling me his thought process. It might eventually become to where this actually like salaries. I mean, not salaries, but contracts. Instead of that's like a free for all right now. But then it'll pretty much be like semi-pro, and I feel like they should go to that. I mean, that's where they're headed. I'd rather be semi-pro than a free for all, because it's like it's not. I mean, it's helping the players, of course, but I don't think they talk about the players that it's not helping. Like a lot of players are just jumping in the transfer portal. What like me, I didn't have transfer portal, so before I went to Sanford, I called the coach and made sure. I didn't call the coach. That's because that's legal. I called my high school coach, and he called the coach and made sure that he had a spot for me. But a lot of guys just jumping in the portal without a spot. And then you add in the money aspect, it's going to mess up your judgment a lot of times.
So you don't recommend jumping in the portal without a spot?
Oh, definitely not. You make sure you got a spot before you jump in there.
Y'all heard the man. Make sure you got a spot. So moving away from football, what do you like to do in your free time?
In my free time? So I have a 4-year-old daughter. Hang out with her. Try to...
She's probably a lot of fun.
Oh, a lot of fun. Doesn't stop talking. She's very she's very active. Very active. So I would say hanging out with her. I went out to LA recently and I went on a hike. I didn't realize I enjoyed hiking. You know, I got a bicycle. I like riding my bike. Really anything that involves fitness, that's me.
So, speaking of fitness, you got a Hoka deal. Do you like running? That's a running shoe. So, do you like to run?
Not necessarily. I would say I get on the treadmill and I do like an incline walk. And also, I like the back pedal. Of course, that's what I do for a living. Well, I like the back pedal. I don't really necessarily like to run. I get on the curve. I like running on there. But it's just going outside on the track. Nah, I'm not. Yeah,
You're not doing that. So you don't see yourself in retirement going to run a mile or anything like that after?
You know, the more like I'm around Hoka brand and around, you know, just people that love Hoka, I'm thinking about doing a marathon once I get done. Not while I'm in it, but maybe one day when I get done.
That'll be fun. Running is so like just, I don't know. I feel like I definitely get like this kind of runner's high sometimes, but
You ran track though, right?
Yeah, I did.
See, I didn't run track.
Yeah, I was like, one of my friends one time was like, "You about to go outside and run a mile?" I was like, "Yep, you already know." So I do want to ask you. You spend a lot of your time giving back, especially with the A.G. Gaston Boys and Girls Club. So talk about what that place means to you and why it's important to you to give back.
So I pretty much grew up at the Boys and Girls Club. I started going there when I was 7, and then I pretty much went there until I went to college. And of course, they gave me my first job at 15. So it's always been a part of me. And I just remember when I was at the Boys and Girls Club, they used to have like One used to come over there. Ruben Studdard would show up. We had various activities where athletes would appear. And that was always cool to me because, of course, I wanted to be an athlete. So it was kind of cool just seeing people that was on a professional level that did something that I wanted to do. So I just try to come back and just show my face. Really, I started off just going back because I still knew people that worked there. And I wanted to go hang out with my friends. And then, of course, I would mingle with the kids because some of the kids I would know. And then it kind of transformed into, you know, I became an athlete, a professional athlete. And I knew, I guess it's one thing to give back, and I enjoy doing that. But I feel like if they can touch me and see me, then it could probably motivate them whenever they might be going through a lull. They saw James Bradberry, and he played in the league, and he's from Birmingham, and if he can do it, I can do it.
So what's your message to kids when you talk to them, when you see them?
My message to kids is really just to really just fall in love with the process. You know, I feel like a lot of with athletes and stuff, or just people in general, you know, they want to, not necessarily they want to take the easy route. They just want things to come fast for them and just happen overnight. But I mean, even with football, it didn't happen like that. You know, I went to high school, started off in Little League, and then went to college. I had to do what I had to do in high school in order for me to get to college. Then I was in school for 5 years. And then eventually I got an opportunity to play in the league, you know. And really, I feel like I just fell in love with the process. You know, I try not to look too far ahead. I was really just enjoyed the moment and tried to be where my feet are.
Take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
So, giving back, is there something that you haven't done? Is there like an initiative that you would like to start or even do one day?
Yeah, I definitely want to get into anything that involves like mental health, because I mean, mental health is a wide spectrum. I feel like that you can attack, but anything that involves that, substance abuse. I had an auntie that passed away when I was younger from substance abuse. Of course, we all know people that deal with it. It's just part of life, and I feel like that evolves around mental health as well. So I want to get into mental health at some point.
Most definitely. So last question I want to ask you: Drake or Kendrick Lamar? Who won the beef?
I mean, I would say Kendrick Lamar won the beef, but I'm actually more of a fan of Drake, so I actually listen to his songs more than Kendrick Lamar.
Sounds good. I like that. James Bradberry IV, thank you for coming to talk to me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.